10 Stoic principles so that nothing can affect you. The first principle is the analogy of the wrestler versus the dancer. The Stoic says that we must be like the wrestler, not the dancer. So when life throws hits at you, life tries to pull you this way or that way, the wrestler stands ready to fight, stands ready to take the hit and take it that way. So you are prepared for the difficulties, the challenges, the circumstances that life throws at you, the storm that life throws you in. You're ready to fight this because you have prepared for this. The second principle is another analogy, and that is of the gladiator versus the boxer. The Stoic sage is comparable to that of a boxer rather than a gladiator. The reasoning is that the gladiator needs its tools. It needs to sharpen its tools. It needs to have its outfit and its armor so that it can fight. And it needs all these things so it can take on the challenge. Whereas the boxer only needs to clench its fist. It has its philosophical tools. It has its principles. It has its mantras. It has everything at the ready. So when life throws its challenges at them, the Stoic sage is ready to take on these challenges. The third Stoic principle, so that you will not be affected by anything that life throws at you. And this is a three-parter from the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and it comes as on death, on pain, and on fame. And this is from Meditations, book 732. On death, either dispersal, if we are atoms, or if we are a unity, extinction, or a change of home. The idea is that no matter what really, no matter what fate comes for us, on death, there is nothing to fear, because if we're religious, then we go to paradise. Some religions, we are reborn, and if you're an atheist, then you are at peace. There's no struggle, there's no stress, there's no worry, you're at peace now. So I remind myself of this when I'm facing struggles and hardship. I just say memento mori, or I look at my memento mori life calendar. I just remind myself, my time is finite. I can't worry about these things. I can't get scared of these things. I can't let these things hold me back from living my life to the fullest, because I'll die soon. The second part and the third reminder from the Stoics to help you not be affected by life is on pain. Unbearable pain carries us off. Chronic pain can be borne. The mind perceives its own serenity by withdrawal, and the directing reason is not impaired by pain. It is for the parts injured by the pain to protest if they can. On pain, pain is not unbearable, and life will never give you what you cannot bear. As it says in this paragraph, if it is so unbearable, then you will die. And like we've seen in the last reminder on death, that's not a bad thing, it's not an evil. Death is not evil, it's a natural part of life, like the falling of the leaves in autumn. And the third part of on pain, on death, is on fame. And this is the fifth principle from the Stoics. Look at their minds, the nature of their thought and what they seek or avoid, and see how, just as drifting sands constantly over the previous sand, so in our lives, what we once did is very quickly covered by its subsequent layers. On fame. And this meant a lot to Marcus Aurelius because he was the most famous man in the world. So he needed this, he needed to remind himself of this, but it means an awful lot to you because you're probably on social media and you're probably trying to impress people, you're probably trying to fit in. But like he says, it's just sand that washes away, and these people will reach death and their opinions will no longer matter anymore. You will reach death, their opinions will no longer matter anymore. So don't allow their opinions to get in your way. Understand that their opinions wash away like sand, and it's often dictated by what is popular in the media, what is popular on social media, and what is a popular thought amongst the gossip, which you don't need to pay attention to. The sixth Stoic principle, so that nothing can affect you, is to remove the mask. This is a concept I came up with, is to remove the mask. The idea is that when we are kids, we're scared of ghosts, we're scared of monsters, but a monster is just a man in a mask. And when we remove that mask, say at Halloween, we realize it's just a guy in a mask. It's just a guy. That's all it is. And that's the same with our problems. We put a mask over them and make them scarier. So if we can face our problems head on, we grab the mask, we remove it, and we say that it's bearable. It's not unbearable, as we said earlier from Marcus Aurelius. Nothing is truly unbearable. So what we do is we make the mask scarier by avoiding our problems. If we have an event coming up, a challenge, or it is something that we need to do in order to grow. For example, me, public speaking, getting on camera, doing these videos, I avoided them for many years, and I made that mask scarier. I made the monster scarier. I covered it in this mask, I covered it in the dark and the smoke, and it was hiding there. It seemed more fearful because I made more questions. I avoided it more. And the mind understands what we are avoiding must be fearful. So every day I began to face it. I would pull out my phone and record a video. It felt awkward, it felt weird, made me anxious. But I did it again and again. Did this hundreds of times. And I have videos from years ago where I was reading the meditations out loud to an empty room, pretending that there was a crowd there. And over time I got better, my voice got better, my confidence got better. I didn't get anxious speaking, I didn't get that shortness of breath, that tight chest. You know, most people understand these feelings. So remove the mask as fast as you can, face it. You know, as the saying goes, you want to slay the dragon before it grows, before it gets more fearsome. The sixth principle you must understand from the Stoics so that nothing can affect you is actually adapted from the Cynics, and it is the Cynic wild dog analogy. And that is that we should not panic, we should not run. The Cynics compare this to the wild dogs, a pack of wild dogs chasing you, and the person that flails their arms, runs, freaks out, panics, screams. The dogs will bite at them, attack them, they will go crazy because this person is panicking. But the person that gets calm, stands their ground, faces off these dogs, is often safer. Oddly enough, you get safer by facing on your problem head on. And that's the same with life. When difficulties and hardships and circumstances try to overthrow you, you need to be, as the Stoics say, like the wrestler. You're ready for this. You don't panic. You're ready to fight back, throw back. And, you know, it's often believed that in times of peace, we must prepare for war, because when the difficulties come in life, when we're in the darkness, it's hard to prepare for the hardships because we're too busy fighting off the challenges, we're too busy fighting against life, the difficulties it throws at us. So, in times of peace, this is when we must prepare for these things. Develop your courage in times of peace, because when the difficulties come, you will have that at hand. You'll be like the boxer, you've got your tool of courage ready for you, ready to go, to face the challenges. The eighth principle is amor fati. It's a Latin principle and probably one of the most powerful tools you can use in life so that nothing will affect you. It means love your fate, or the love of one's fate. And the understanding from the Stoic side is that Zeus wrote out our life. It was Zeus's will. Whatever happens to you was part of Zeus's plan, and you can't resist the will of Zeus. So to resist it is to cause inner turmoil, it's to cause resistance and pain and suffering. So we accept this, we embrace it, and go as far as to love it. So even when bad things happen, you say, I love it. Because you take what has happened and you make the best use of it, because you cannot change the past. So whatever happens to you, you can never stop that. You could never have stopped it because it's already happened. So you take it, you love it, and you choose your internal actions, your ruling faculty, the things you do control, and you take control of that. You say, I love this, I'm going to use it to better myself for the future and prepare myself for more challenges that lay ahead. The ninth principle so that nothing will affect you in life is endure and renounce. This is one of my favorite principles. This is from Epictetus, the former slave turned philosopher. You know, this guy went through hell and back. His life was torture, it was difficulty. You know, he was crippled by his master, he was enslaved. But then when he got his freedom, he went out and helped people. He taught people this practical philosophy because he was the most practical of philosophers. He was admired for his courage, his strength of character, his resilience, and his practical philosophy. The way in which he just used his philosophy. He didn't preach to people, he showed people. So, endure and renounce. Endure what you irrationally fear or find aversive using courage and perseverance. Renounce or abstain from what you irrationally crave through discretion and self-discipline. So, if you're presented with something that seems quite appealing, something quite exciting, quite ready to drag you away from your character, maybe an addiction or a substance, a bad habit, a craving, something that's trying to pull you this way, you need the discipline to not delve into this thing. And the same can be said for challenges. When something is scaring you, it's causing anxiety, causing fear, you need the courage to fight against this thing. So you need to endure and renounce. Remember this, endure and renounce. I remind myself of this all times now when I want to do something I shouldn't do, or I'm scared of doing something. Endure and renounce. The final principle to help you so that nothing in life can affect you is the principle taught by Chrysippus, one of the founding Stoics. He said that you can either be a fool or a wise man. The wise man needs nothing, and yet he can make good use of anything. The fool requires everything, yet can make no good use out of anything. So, hopefully, following these principles, you'll get to a point where life will not affect you. It's not a quick process, it's took me over a decade of understanding these principles, but hopefully, following what I teach, I've condensed it, I've made it more practical, I've simplified it and made it more modern. So I've took it from the ancient texts of Seneca, Epictetus, Musonius Rufus, Zeno, Cleanthes, Chrysippus, Marcus Aurelius, all these great Stoics. I've took their teachings and condensed it. It's took me a long time to learn all these things, learn to truly understand what they mean, how they can impact our lives. But now I've made it practical, I've made it into a guide, and I'm sharing it with you. So hopefully, it took me a decade to improve from this scared, anxious, this person bound by my own limitations. I couldn't be the person I wanted to be. I've been wanting to get on camera and teach people for so long. I've been wanting to do this for almost a decade, and took me almost a decade to even get on camera and start filming because I was so restricted, so limited. And I wanted to do good things. I wanted to, just a simple one. When I got off the bus, I had an all-day ticket. I wanted to give it to someone, just say, hey, here you go. You don't need to pay for the bus. But I was too bound, too stricken by anxiety and fear of being judged or being embarrassed. They never did these things. I was so held back from my limiting beliefs that I didn't even do good. But now I don't really care because of Stoicism. So hopefully these things can help you as much as they've helped me. And thank you for watching. If you want more, follow me on Instagram at The Everyday Stoic or at William Mulligan Brother, where I share Stoic memes, lessons, videos, everything to do with Stoicism. There's a huge community of over 400,000. It's a great community of like-minded Stoics, so enjoy. And I think I mentioned about the Memento Mori poster, how much it's helped me. It has helped me massively, and I believe it could help you. So if you want to look into that, there is discount, and it just supports what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful for all the people that are buying them. So thank you, and have a great day.